Well, well, well. We meet again. We meet again. Beautiful people. My X-Men. My X-Men. We meet again. How's everyone doing? Tell me how you're doing in the chat. Give me a mark out of 10. Because tonight we're going to have some pure bants. We've got no tier list to distract us. We've got 0 Zendaya, 0 Amy Adams, and tonight we're going to have some fun. Now, I saw someone said there's going to be a 6-hour stream or 8-hour stream. It's not. I know I always say that, and then we end up doing 3 hours, but we're not doing 3 hours today. So let's just. I don't want any rules today, guys. If we think that Zendaya is amazing, then we say it. If we think Amy Adams is amazing, we say it. If we think that a particular film in our past has had a significant effect on our mental health, we're going to say it. We're going to talk about all sorts of things tonight. I know it says in the title, X-Men 97, and classic movies and something else, can't remember what I said, is a renaissance, a return to great TV. Are we in the midst of a return to great TV? Should we talk about that stuff? Sure. But we can just go all over the place, can't we? We can just do whatever tonight. There's no tier list. Thank F. Thank F. When I see that there's no tier list in my daily schedule, I'm inclined to have some fun. When I see there's no tier list, I'm inclined to go wild. I'm inclined. So, guys, what are we saying? We're saying 10s here. Vitaphone. So, guys, tonight, some things are going to happen. We're going to have some fun, first and foremost. I'm also going to play around a bit and see if I can get people on to chat. So, Vitaphone and myself have been talking over the past couple of days, so we may try that out today. And me and Jay were speaking weeks ago about doing something like a dual chat. So, yeah, I think I might give that a bit of a try today. But in the meantime, guys, I want to know 2 things. How are you feeling out of a 10? I'm about 7, 8. How are you guys doing? And then I also want to know, what have you seen? Let's start backwards. What have you guys seen this year? Let's say in the past year, past 12 months. And I want positivity tonight. So, okay, so cinema is dying around about here. Let me point at it. There we go. So cinema is dying around about there. But tonight we're going to have fun only. No negativity. So I'm not going to talk about Amy Adams or the other person that I normally talk about. Tonight we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about film. Just have some fun, talk about film. So in the past 12 months, what have you seen that has impressed you? Because I was watching Red Letter Media yesterday, and they were going through all the films they've seen over the past 6 months or so, and they were talking about Abigail and Love Lies Bleeding, and this other film, I can't remember what it's called, but it's got Jim Cummings in it. And first of all, I love those guys, but second of all, I thought, let's have some fun tonight, guys. Let's do this. So, let's do this. Oh, okay. Arush has gone. There's no tier list, so Arush has gone. So yeah, guys, talk to me. What have you seen in the past 12 months that you have enjoyed? And I'm gonna reel off some names for you. Have you seen Godzilla -1? I haven't. Let me know. Is it good? Have you actually seen Love Lies Bleeding and loved it? Have you seen Abigail and loved it as well? What have you seen? Hit me up with some names. Do it. Also, whilst I'm here, Spiritual. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kerwin. Again, thank you for your for joining the other day. And Vitaphone. Thank you so much for just gifting everyone. Everyone, you get a car. You get a car. You get a car. Everyone got one. So, guys, what are we saying? For the first time, I saw Serpico yesterday, inspired by Pacino's run in the Best Actors list. 'Twas great. It is the wonderful Sidney Lumet. It is 1976, I believe, and he was nominated for an Oscar but did not win. And it's a true story about Italian cop called John Serpico, I think it is. Wonderfully raw film with a great performance from Al Pacino. He, the director Sidney Lumet, made a very similar film in 1981 or something. It's about corrupt cops as well, and I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure Jay knows the name of the film. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah. Challenges. First of all, hello, Issa. Hello, everyone. Challenges. Yeah, well, I did see Challenges, and I obviously done a review on that. So here's the thing: Challenges is not a bad film. I don't dislike Challenges. I think it's a fairly average melodrama. I don't hate it, but I've only seen one of his films, Luca Guadagnino. I probably got that wrong. I saw the wonderful Call Me By Your Name, so I was expecting more from him, but I didn't get it. Hello, Issa. Hello. I can never say your name, so I'm going to call you MK from now on. You are MK. Slow burn of a movie. What film is that? Okay, Marcus, been doing my homework. I'm inspired by the video essays. Just saw Audition 1999 for the first time last night. Okay, so talk to me, White Noise. That scene, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone else, but that scene at the end with the, that is the scariest thing I've ever seen in the whole of my life. The whole of my life. I've never seen anything as scary as that in the whole of my life. Arish, go and do your exams. What are you doing here talking to me? Waste of your time. Frank Serpico. There we go. Francisco Serpico. Teo went to cinema and watched Furiosa. I'm watching that tomorrow. Apparently, it was awesome. I'll have to see tomorrow if it's awesome. Issa, okay, you may have missed the part where I said, tonight I'm being nice, I'm having fun, I'm being placid, I'm just going to sit here and not insult anyone. Not insult anyone. I'm going to be a nice person, okay? I've seen -1, Boy Kills World, Civil War, Fall Guy in the last 6 months. You've seen a lot more than me in the last 6 months. I tend to go back to the well. So what I've done for the past, since I saw Doctor Strange and was put off, Doctor Strange 2 that is, and was kind of put off going to the cinema, I've just been obsessively watching foreign films and films from yesteryear. So I've not seen Boy Kills World, Civil War, -1, or The Fall Guy. But Cohen, out of those films, which one did you think was the best? Yeah, Vitafone, totally feel the same way. And I hate horror films because they just bore me. But that one actually got me deep. It was, nightmare fuel. Who else? So if you're in the chat and you're just watching passively, that's absolutely fine. But the question is, and I'll put it over here actually, what have you seen in the past 12 months that you have enjoyed? Because tonight we're going to be nice and we're going to have fun. We're going to be positive. We're not going to talk about negative things. There's so much to talk about in terms of negative things. I mean, we could talk about Deadpool 3 and how it broke the box office for pre-sale sales. We could sit here and bash on about how Disney are crap and how Star Wars is awful. But tonight we're going to be nice. Tonight we're going to be a nice short stream, but we're being nice. I might get some of you guys on as well if I work out how to do that. I think I've worked out how to do it. But we're going to talk about what we've seen recently. And in a minute, I'm going to go into a little bit of X-Men 97 and talk about that. But for now, the best films you've seen in the past 12 months. Let me know. I think I told you guys I saw the Mads Mikkelsen film, which name I keep forgetting, The Promised Land, a few days ago or a couple of weeks back. And it is tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. So if you've not seen that, get on it. Gagnan, as always, with these random films. Okay. H.P. Lovecraft, the old one. I don't really like Lovecraft because of his views on certain things, I must say. Van Helsing, first season. Is there a season of Van Helsing? Is that actually a TV show now? And Leo from Adam Sandler. Not heard of that. Not heard of that. Do you know about new De Niro from Alto Nights come out next year? I don't, Issa. Tell me about that. Is that maybe I heard of it. Let me know. What is that about? Drive My was brilliant. What do you mean? Drive My Car? Do you mean Drive My Car? That 3-hour film where the credits start like an hour and a half into the film? Is that the film you're talking about? Let me know. I have not seen it. I honestly, 3-hour film. I've really got to be in the mood to watch a 3-hour film. Sorry, I'm just typing out a little banner here for you guys to have fun with. And then we're going to talk about X-Men 97. Monkey Man was good. Everyone's calling it the Indian John Wick. I thought it was a lot more deep than the Indian John Wick. There was a lot more going on. The action is not as good as John Wick. And I think I've said it before. I'm not a huge John Wick fan. I'm not against it, but I mean, I wouldn't just sit down and watch John Wick. It's just not for me. I've seen Baby Reindeer. In fact, I'm on episode 3. Just before I came on this stream, I watched episode 3. And the excessive voiceover is very student film. And it's lacking something, but it's enough to keep you entertained for half an hour or so. I think I've seen 60. Boy Kills World, The Killer. We'll talk about The Killer in a minute. I actually did a review. So here's the thing. I did a review of The Killer when I first started the channel. It's probably like my 11th video, but I never posted it. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know why I didn't post it, to be honest with you, but I didn't post it. 12 Sam. What is 12 Sam? Killers of the Flower Moon, Late Night with the Devil, Poor Things, and the rest of your messages cut off. But I think I spoke about Late Night with the Devil the other day. I saw that on Sunday, and we spoke about that already, and I was a bit underwhelmed by it. I like The First Omen, probably the best I've seen this. Ooh, really? Really? Okay. That's a big old statement. I've heard mixed reviews, but again, horror's not really my thing, so I've not really delved into it. Interesting. De Niro plays a double role as two mobsters. Yes. I do know about this film. I think they started to shoot it and then they stopped shooting and they did some reshoots and so forth. So it's been delayed quite a bit. I am excited. Barry Levinson, if you guys don't know, is the dad of Sam Levinson, who is the creator and writer and director of Euphoria and Malcolm and Marie. And Barry Levinson has directed films such as, he directed Sleepers, I believe. Fact check me on that one, guys, with Brad Pitt and De Niro's in that as well. He also directed Diner. I think he directed Diner as well in 1982. And he's a bit of a legend. I know, that's Kerwin, honestly. This Vitaphone guy is just a machine. I swear he's AI. We're going to find out pretty soon when I get him on. I swear he's AI. I don't know which film that I loved the most in the past 12 months, but the last film that I watched and I adored was Harold and Maude, which is a Robert Altman film. Am I correct? Could be wrong. Fact check me if I am. One of my favorite films. Just love it. Never seen it. And I recently watched Finity Pool with the Skarsgård's son. I never remember his bloody name. All I know is that I love him in True Blood and everything else he does. Really think he pushes himself. He's basically a pretty boy, but he knows he's a pretty boy, so he does really extreme stuff to kind of get himself away from being a pretty boy. He's also really good in Succession as well. What about TV show? Actually, let's not talk about TV shows. We'll do that in a bit. So The Killer, David Fincher, The Killer, probably. It's a good film. It's a good film. I was going to say it's one of his worst films, but that doesn't mean much because he's made just incredible films. I think Mank was a lot worse than The Killer. And that's not saying, when I use the word worse, I don't mean it's not good. I enjoyed Mank, but in the pantheon of Fincher films, those films are kind of sitting quite low down, to be honest with you. I even prefer The Game ahead of those two films. If you guys have not seen The Game, I know you guys love Sean Penn. He's really good in that. Letterboxd. I've never got into Letterboxd. Never ever done it. Oppenheimer is arguably the best film I saw in the past 12 months. I do not share that view. I don't think. Maybe. I mean, it's not the best film I've seen in the past 12 months. In the cinema, maybe. Maybe. Anyone seen The Judge, starring Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall, the legendary Robert Duvall? I have seen that. I saw it when it first came out. It's a okay film. And there's a twist in it, so I won't talk too much about it. Hal Ashby. I've not seen any Hal Ashby films. Alien 3. I don't include, for the sake of David Fincher, I don't include Alien 3 in his filmography. I've not seen it. I've heard terrible things about it. If anyone's seen it, let me know if it is good. But I probably will never see that film in my life. And I'm going to let him off and say that's not his film, because that just completely sullies his filmography. I'll gladly go to bat. You know what? We'll do that. We'll talk about The Killer. I don't think he's going to have the kind of... See, that's the thing. And I don't want to get negative because I said we're going to be really fun tonight. It's been 20 minutes already. Jeez. But we are going to just keep things positive and light tonight. So I don't want to talk about anything negative, but I will say The Killer hasn't got the potential to be a cult hit like American Psycho, purely because it's not memeable, and American Psycho is memeable. And on top of that, we're just not in a generation where there's cult films, really. Unfortunately. Right. Shall we talk about X-Men 97? I'm cool with Alien 3, but I'm super partial to the Alien. See, the thing is, and again, I'm trying to be positive, but I think I'm going to get dragged into a mire of negativity because let's face it, there's a lot of trash. I'm not excited for the new Alien film. We'll talk about that later. But as far as I'm concerned, there's 2 Terminator films. There's 1 RoboCop film. There's 2 Alien films. And there's only 3 Indiana Jones films. My brain has told me to think like that. And that's the way I see things. I do not care for any Alien film after Alien 2. End of. Or Aliens, if you want to call it that. If you can't understand it. It's actually it's highly literary meme and fairly big in the Sigma meme. Oh, okay. Good old Sigmas. Good old Sigmas. Right. Should we talk about who here, a raising of hands, who has seen X-Men 97? Now we're not gonna go into spoilers because it literally finished like 2 weeks ago or something. So who here has seen X-Men 97? I managed to finish it yesterday. It took me weeks. I typically don't binge a show. So if a show's come out as a collective, I typically watch it on a weekly basis. I don't just watch loads of episodes together or daily basis. So finally finished it yesterday. And my God. So hit me up. Let me know in chat, guys. Have you seen this? It is tremendous. Tremendous. Like, it reminded me of Marvel at its peak. And I'm not going to include it in the MCU because it's not part of the MCU. Well, I don't think it is anyway. But really, it should be because it is the best thing they've done since Endgame by far. By far. Terrific, terrific, terrific TV show. If you're a fan of the X-Men, you will love it. If you're not a fan of the X-Men, then you won't like it. But it really does take it. And if you've not seen the original X-Men back in the 90s, it doesn't really matter. It kind of explains itself slightly. There were bits where I was like, okay, that's happened. Why has that happened? Okay, all right, okay, but I got there in the end, and it really is tremendous. There's something that happens at the end of episode 9, which they don't follow up with properly, that I was gasping at. It was brilliant. Bro, you need to watch Hal Aspie films. His 70s are peak. I think Jay's told me about that before. Haven't seen Shogun. Best TV show in recent history. Everything about Kerwin, trust me, I was the same. And I still am the same. I don't think Marvel are back, but that was really, really good. Yeah, Issa, you don't have to watch the previous X-Men series, but why not? Because it's good as well. It's really good as well. Yeah, White Noise. The original, I was a kid when they came out, and just that theme tune was the assurance of quality. X-97 delivers a lot on fronts, but I think when Chewy Chips Ahoy came out, everyone loved them, and I thought, oh dear, Vitaphone, we're trying to be positive tonight. Come on. Come on. Come on. I did love the original. You said that already. Cool. So, do you guys think we're in a kind of a return to great TV? Because we had in the early or the late, no, let's go from the early 2000s up until the late 2000s, and then very much so in the early 2010s, we had the golden age of TV. So we had Mad Men. These were all AMC properties. Mad Men. We had the zombie show, The Walking Dead. We had Breaking Bad, AMC again. And just before that, we had The Wire. And, you know, we had Sopranos before that. And there's so many other shows that were at such a high level around about that time. I've seen Shogun this year, and Shogun is hands down the best thing I've seen since Better Call Saul, hands down. So I'm not saying there's a resurgence, because, you know, there's not many other great shows out there right now. But, you know, The Boys is okay. I think The Boys is way overhyped, but I think it's okay. We had the wonderful TV show Blue Eye Samurai, which is the best thing Netflix have ever done. And there's been some shows that just pop up here and there. House of Dragons, even that, which I was very skeptical about, was actually really good. So do you think we're in this new age of great TV? What are you guys thinking about that? Daredevil is the best TV Marvel for me. Daredevil 1, season 1 and season 2 were good. Season 3, I remember it being kind of boring, because I think they said it all he was in the church a lot. And I just thought, what? This is boring. Get him out of that church. Absolutely boring. Blue Eye Samurai is amazingly animated, but more than that, it's a really good show. And the writing is splendid. Splendid. We also had Atlanta recently as well, which is really good. There's been so many great shows lately. So do you guys think we're in this new age of great TV? Because I actually do think, in a weird way, we kind of are. Now, the problem is there's a lot of variety. So there's too many streaming services. So there's too many shows. Apple apparently have a couple of good shows as well. I think someone mentioned, is it called The Dark or something? And Severance, is that another TV show? I think Ben Stiller directs those episodes. There's quite a lot of well-established and well-reviewed TV shows right now. So what are you guys thinking? Are we in this beautiful resurgence? And to prove it, X-Men 97, and just remember, this is coming from Disney, who are the allegedly wokest studio out there, and people are loving it. So they're doing something right. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 collectively. Incredible. The Boys is great. How do you think it's going to end? It should have ended last season. The end of last season was absolutely awful. It really was. It seemed so promising, and it just went down the hill. White Noise, it's a Christopher Nolan anthology about something else from 12 years ago. I need to follow the strand of that conversation. So, guys, do you think there's a resurgence? The Boys 1, 2, season 3. Agreed with you, Stagnick. Agreed with you. It seems so promising because they, without spoiling it for everyone, they went off and they found someone who could finally take on the chief antagonist, and they kind of dropped the ball with that. I felt the ending was really, really lame, and I'm not excited for the next season, unfortunately. The showrunner, yeah. So right at the beginning of the show, or before it came out, he was fired, I believe, and the reason why is undisclosed. It's also got Victoria Alonso's name on the credits and Kevin Fig on the credits as well. So I don't know what they did on it, but probably not much. Yeah, give it a watch. I mean, The Boys is pretty good. I'm mostly playing computer games nowadays. Well, that's a bit boring, Gagnan. Come on. What are you playing? What are you playing? White Noise. So, yeah, I think there is. I think it's really weird because back when Game of Thrones first came out, we only really had HBO and AMC and the BBC and so forth. Now there's so many different streaming services. There's so many shows on different streaming services. So it's and there's a lot of bad shows like, Emily in Paris, for example, or what's that terrible show that I reviewed recently, Fallout. I hope I haven't offended anyone, but Fallout's terrible. So there's a lot of crap out there, but there's also, if you look deeply, there's a lot of terrific TV out there as well. So what are we thinking? The Boys has a Homelander problem. They don't want to let him go, understandably, but they have to keep the characters that were dynamic and static characters. Yes, totally agree. They do have a Homelander problem. It's the Superman problem, but in reverse. It's the Superman problem in reverse. And this is why I severely am concerned for the DC going forward, because the DCEU or whatever it's called going forward, because they've started off with Superman, and Superman is a character that is very hard to get right. If James Gunn gets it right, he's got hope. But I don't think he's going to get it right, unfortunately. He's not the right person for Superman. He's absolutely the wrong person for that particular character. So yeah, X-Men has got 9 out of 10, which is unbelievable, isn't it? It's almost unbelievable. If it's too good to be true, then it probably isn't true. But I can tell you, it's definitely not a 9 out of 10. It's definitely not 9 out of 10. It's more like a 7.5 out of 10. But I really enjoyed it. The Butcher cliffhanger. Is that from The Boys? Let me know. DCU. So it's not the DCEU. Are you sure it's not the DCEU? I swear it's the DCEU. It must be the DCEU. Come on. Anyone watching Shining Girl? I've not seen it, but Elizabeth Moss should have been on our list. Should have been on our tier list. She is tremendous in everything she's in. Every little thing she does is just tremendous. Now, of course, she is part of Tom Cruise's club, which it's a Scientology club, but she is a tremendous actress. Even in Mad Men, when she got her fame, she's brilliant. The bigger problem is Batman. How many Batmans are there? Agreed. I've given up on Batman. I don't care. I never did care in the first place. I'm not a big Batman fan. But you've got the Batman. You've got the Joker, which is obviously a different world to the Batman. And now you're going to have another Batman who I'm hoping is going to be Alan Ritchson, which brings me back to another TV show, Reacher. Another great show. Season 2 wasn't as good as season 1. Season 1 was really good. But another fantastic TV show that, just popped out of nowhere. I think we are in this resurgence, guys. I'm very happy with X-Men 97. Jay, you should be. It's got a 9 out of 10 on IMDb. And if it's got a 9 out of 10 on IMDb, then it's definitely true. This has been a very soft year for cinema. It has been. But Rositas, first of all, hello. But second of all, it's not just been this year. It's been a number of years. But today we're talking only positive things, guys. So only tell me about the good things. Only tell me about the things that you've liked in the past 12 months, because we're just going to have fun tonight. Loads of fun without doing it for 3 hours. And you know what? If anyone wants to come on and have a little chat, then we can do that as well. I am going to, in a second, work out how to get Vitaphone onto the chat. And then that will be the first person that's ever come on to a live stream. And if anyone else wants to come on, let me know. The guy, Jack. I've not seen Jack Ryan. Do you know why? I'm going to be honest with you. The reason I'm not seeing Jack Ryan is because I think I expected something different from Jack Ryan. So I saw the Harrison Ford ones as a kid, and I remember them being exciting, but they're not. And then I saw the Ben Affleck one, which had Morgan Freeman, and I remember that being exciting, but it's not. And then I watched the Chris Pine one, which is, I've seen two. I love Chris Pine, but I've seen two Chris Pine films that are maybe amongst the worst films I've ever seen. That is one of them. And the other one is the one with Tom Hardy, which he plays a spy. Two of the worst films I've ever seen. So I don't ever want to see Jack Reacher ever again. Sorry, Jack Ryan ever again. Jay, check out season 1. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Two of my favorite shows that were on Netflix when I had it. You got rid of Netflix? That's sacrilege, my friend. Was Fincher's Mindhunters and Jason Bateman's Ozark. Fincher's Mindhunters was wonderful, but it was bound to get cancelled because it's very slow burning and it wasn't going to go anywhere. There was no overarching story. It was just a character study into serial killers. So it wasn't going anywhere at all. Don't you think it's interesting how many good actors come out of Scientology? I'm going to move straight on. I don't want to get Scientologied. I don't want to be, people standing outside my house on my lawn watching me. I don't want any of that. I don't want any smoke from any Scientologists. Thank you very much. Yeah, Chris Pine is awesome. He might be guys, this is very important. Who is the best Chris? Hemsworth, Pine, Evans, and there's one more. Hemsworth, Pine, Evans, and Mr. Parks and Rec. Who is the best Chris? Who is the best Chris? Let's do this right now. I might even work out how to do a poll for this. Well, it's a bit too late for me to do that. But if I work out what's talking to you guys, then I'm going to put a poll in here. Who is the best Chris? Talk to me about that. And also, it would be most enjoyable if you could hit the like button upon your way in. Chris Rock. You know what? Yeah, Chris Rock. Chris Rock as well. Not a bad shout, Cohen. Evans. I love it. I love Captain America. So Evans is wonderful. And he does push himself. Pine is wonderful as well. Chris Rock again. Yeah, Chris Rock is tremendous. Yeah, guys, who is the best Chris? And more importantly, hit that like button, guys. Hit the like button on your way in. Oh, look who's come up on the screen. Look at this. Jonathan Majors. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. That is not good, is it? That's a terrible situation. In fact, I think I should probably get rid of the screen because it's advertising stuff and I might get a bit of a copyright strike right there. Yeah, who's the best Chris, guys? Cristiano. I prefer Evans. For me, Evans is up there. I do love Chris Pratt. I do love me some Chris Pratt. Acting wise, probably not, but just comedy wise, he done this joke on Parks and Rec. I think it was cut, and I don't know if I can say it. I'm going to say it. And it was cut from the show. It's an outtake. I don't know if you guys have seen it. And they're having this this meeting amongst the staff, and I think Amy Poehler goes something about comebacks, like no one's ever made a comeback before, and just ad lib. Chris Pratt goes, "What about Kim Kardashian?" If you guys get that joke, then I love you. Don't you just love this? We're just talking. We're just having a chat. I have worked out how to do an invite here, so I'm going to potentially invite someone on, and we will have our first ever person on, which will be very exciting, I believe. Or it could be the worst thing that's ever happened in human history, I believe. Bro, don't listen to me. I love Chris Pine and Hemsworth too much. But all of them are good. All of them are good. Even Chris Rock. Well, maybe not acting wise, but comedy wise, Chris Rock is brilliant. Name all the Chris, because Pine is probably clear by a mile. Pratt has something though. I'm not sure if he's clear. Got Evans and Hemsworth and Rock. Come on. Chris Evans is amazing as Cat, but I struggle to watch him and other stuff. Do you know what? The problem with Chris Evans is that he thinks he's a really versatile actor and he's not. And he should probably stick to certain things. He's versatile, but he's not as versatile as he thinks he is. So he ends up in stuff like, whatever that crappy thing was called. Did you guys see that thing with Ana de Armas? Let's talk about Ana de Armas, because I'm not a big fan. What do you guys think about Ana de Armas? I'm not a big fan at all. You start the StreamYard and share it. Yeah, StreamYard is what I'm using already. I've got the link. And I guess I just put it into the chat. And I think you guys can click on it and come on in if I let you in. So I may do that just now. But in the meantime, what do you think about Ana de Armas? What are we thinking about Ana de Armas? Because I think she's not as good as people think she is. Not to say she's particularly bad. I liked her in that Bond film, which I didn't like. I didn't like the Bond film, but she was really good in it. But yeah, not for me. Not for me, guys. Not for me. Right. So at the top of the stream, or wherever it is, yep, it's pinned right there. You can actually click on that. And I think if you want to come in the stream, I think there's a way that I can add someone to the stage. So I've got someone sitting on the backstage right now, which is going to be very fun. I'm going to get them on very shortly. But for now, Ana de Armas. Ana de Armas is very funny in Knives Out. Is she funny in Knives Out? She's not really funny in Knives Out. She's good in Knives Out, but she's not really doing much. She's just running around and going, I didn't do it. 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 Okay, all right, you didn't do it. Whatever. But she did do it. She actually did do it. She should actually go to jail because it was manslaughter. Just, that's a fact. Anna was good in 2020. In 2049. Was she? She wasn't good in 2049. She wasn't. Oh, I love you. I love you. Is she good in that? I don't think so. She's average. She's hot, but yes, she's very hot. I mean, yeah, she's very hot, but can she act? Not really. She's interesting. Well, Vitaphone, it's so ironic you should say that, because now you're going to have to come on and defend Ana de Armas. Can't really act, not a fan. Right, I'm going to keep this on the screen. And he's going to have to come on and defend Ana de Armas very soon. But before that happens, this has to happen. That is now your theme tune, my friend. That is your theme tune. How are you doing?
Am I on?
You're on. It's showtime.
It's just not showing up. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
Lay there.
First of all, thank you very much for your super chats, your memberships, being here. Tremendous stuff. Really do appreciate it. But now you're going to have to justify yourself when talking about Ana de Armas.
I mean, I was more interested in defending the killer. The killer. I can't really defend Anna yet. I think she's got potential. I think I liked her. She was one of the only things I liked in the James Bond film that she was in.
Uh-huh.
I liked her in Blade Runner, but again, the role didn't really call for much other than to be robotic.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying to me is you want to move straight on to the killer, and you don't want to defend her
I mean,
at all.
She doesn't have the catalog yet, really. I mean, and I haven't seen the Netflix Monroe movie, so I don't know if she really
God.
did a stretch in that or not.
God.
Not good. Did you see it? I mean, I know the movie.
Thank God I've not seen it, but I've seen many clips because I did a video about acting, good acting versus bad acting, and unfortunately I had to watch loads of clips, and she's I mean, okay, so she got an accent, obviously.
Mhm.
That's fine. But the acting needs to be good. And I was not impressed. But you know what? I'm going to let you off. I'm going to let you off the hook. You said she was interesting, but I'm going to let you off the hook.
Thank you.
Defend the killer.
Okay.
Me.
So, like you, I actually wrote an entire in a review on the film and didn't get around to editing it and didn't get around to shooting it, but I will, because I think the killer has a ton of subtlety going for it. I think there's a lot of interesting connections to Taxi Driver. It's almost like an something of a companion piece to Taxi Driver.
Interesting.
There's like, trying to think, because I wrote that about 4 months ago, but there's a correlation to where Bickle tries to connect with society in various ways, like the clerk at the theater and various times. Fassbender never tries to, but Fassbender's almost like if Bickle got it together and was able to be the robot man that kind of lives in society but lives by his own code.
Yeah.
But the internal monologues, the fact that the catalyst to the film, you could say, is a woman in both of the films. There's the oh man,
you're doing a great job. I mean, what you reminded me of just then was watching Baby Reindeer and listening to the voiceover. It's amateurish, really, really amateurish, and it does feel student film like. But with the killer, the voiceover is the best thing about the film.
Yeah, well, it's central because
it's sadistic, it's real, it's honest, and it's a man who doesn't care. Does not care until he does care.
Yeah. He walks the line like Bickle of this walking contradiction of, because, and the thing is, you can argue that it's pride that is the catalyst for him, but you could also argue that he really actually does care about another person, and it's just a person. I also think that the film works as a scathing critique on post-capitalist society, because it's all about money. At every turn and every kind of person who goes up the ring of the ladder, it's about money, and it's about the ruling class, and it's about how even him at the end has that revelation of, I guess I'm not one of the few, and the last like kind of obvious nod, I think, the Taxi Driver is the final scene with Fassbender and his character breaking, the mask breaking, where he has the eye twitch, which is super reminiscent of Bickle looking up at the rearview mirror at the very end of, like, not quite, he's back to ticking time bomb. So I mean, if I had spent more time thinking about it, I could probably make a better but it is definitely filled with the meme of the Sigma male of always be looking at what's in it for me, and this kind of inner monologue of pretending that you're not going to let feelings or anything other than pure system and pure execution of excellence be your guide, which at the film is like what somebody had said in a pretty good Reddit theme was like, it's a tragedy or it's a comedy of errors, because everybody's kind of a screw up in that film. And even the guy who is living principles, even he is still making mistakes, and everybody's just doing the dumbest thing around him.
Mm.
There's one other thing that I saw as a pretty big critique against that is like, well, I see a lot of people have said, well, I mean, if this guy's so great, why does what happened to him happened in the film? And it's like, how is he ever great? And it's like, well, there is a monologue and the whole intro of the film is showing you that he has just been a pure success machine. He isn't just a screw up. He really has been this professional, but we see him after a series of things go wrong.
Yeah, I didn't get the Taxi Driver link when I watched it. It's a very, very interesting link. Is that something that you've hypothesized, or is that okay?
Yeah. It's something I hypothesized, but I floated it on a couple of the forums, and
it stuck.
I think I'm crazy. It has stuck, but it's like I said, the best way to put it is it's like this weird companion piece or spiritual sequel in a matter of ways, because it continues a lot of the themes of the character.
Mm-hmm.
And what if Travis wasn't so messed up from Vietnam, or if he finally got it together after that and became I can't remember his term in Taxi Driver, which is weird because
he was just trying to be perfect, wasn't he? He was trying to be a good citizen, and he failed tremendously.
If he became a person like other people.
Yeah, that's it.
He finally got it together and was able to execute without self-sabotaging and eating garbage and alcohol and all the things that, Travis kind of stays in his own way. Fassbender kind of gets past all that, but it still goes wrong for him.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't feel the link between Taxi Driver and The Killer myself. I'm glad you brought that up. I love Taxi Driver, and like you said, it's a Sigma film, Sigma male film. So you've got films like Drive. Is it Drive? Yeah, Drive. Yeah. American Psycho, so forth. I think this film, because he's such a masculine character, and he's always going around killing people. I know that in Drive it's very similar, but I felt he was more powerful than I felt sorry for Travis Bickle up until he started killing people. And with American Psycho, I mean, he starts killing people straight away, but I still felt sorry for him. And then with Drive, I actually felt very sorry for Ryan Gosling's character. It was almost like he was trying to become this person, but he just couldn't get past himself. With The Killer, I didn't feel sorry for him at any point because he's so dry in the wit and so cutthroat, and every choice he makes is so calculated until he's out of control. But I didn't feel sorry for him at any point, and that's why I didn't feel like he was a Sigma male. But I understand the traits of the Sigma male. I understand what you're saying there, because he is very singular. He's very much a case of I think this way, and that's that. Nothing's going to get in the way of the way I think, which is very, very, very much a trait of Sigma male in the film. I think you've done a great defense of The Killer, personally, but I still like if I say the best Fincher films are Seven, Fight Club, I would put The Killer around about The Game area, which is kind of. Was that bad? Bad?
I mean,
to me, that's good.
It's still a fantastic movie. I just actually watched it about 6 months ago. For me, that's fairly low on Fincher's list. It's still a great movie because I think that Fincher is the heir to Kubrick and I can't remember what other director. I honestly only got 4 hours of sleep, so this is a day for me to be on it. But yeah, that sort of fastidious nature of getting he's going to absolutely get what he thinks the film needs, and it doesn't matter if that's going to be 50 takes or 2 takes. He's interested in whatever works for the picture, and he knows what he wants.
Absolutely. I think he's the clearest definition of, I always use the expression, simple filmmaking is the best kind of filmmaking. He's the absolute definition of simple filmmaking is the best kind of filmmaking, because yes, he will do a take on a shot for 50 to 100 shots, but he knows what he needs to get what he wants, and he doesn't overcomplicate things. If he needs to put dollies on the floor and then paint them out, he'll do it. Like, he does everything that filmmakers should do. If you want to become a filmmaker, you need to just follow the principles of David Fincher. Apart from the 50 takes, that's ridiculous, but
Hitchcock,
it works for him.
Hitchcock was who I was reaching for. He's
yeah. I mean, if you look at the film with Jodie Foster, which is
Panic Room.
Yeah, Panic Room. That's very Hitchcockian, isn't it? It's extremely Hitchcockian. And I thought he made that after Fight Club, so I thought he's going to kind of go off in that direction, but he was just playing around, apparently. It's one of the reasons why I love Soderbergh, is because Soderbergh can just dally off into any direction he wants to go into, and it's really exciting to see what he's going to do next. And occasionally he makes crap, but but
he's not afraid to go from to genre hop, and he doesn't just. What I love about Soderbergh is he doesn't just say, I'm going to make it my way. He goes, I love this genre. These are all the things I love about this genre. Let me synthesize that and make this film this way, which is totally different than, potentially than his last film, which I think that's super brave.
Yeah. And the fact that he even attempts it, is almost as if he's like saying to himself, I can do whatever I want and I'll still be around. Like, he doesn't care. He absolutely doesn't care if he makes a piece of crap. He knows it's crap. Like, he made a film on an iPhone. He made 2 films on an iPhone. And I enjoyed them. But they're not like top tier Soderbergh films. But he doesn't care. He actually doesn't care, which I really appreciate in a director, that you don't care what people think.
Well, his new film that I think is supposed to come out pretty soon is shot on the newest Sony A7i, or I can't remember which alpha model it is. The new one that's the hybrid DSLR body that has no rolling shutter. Just because he loves to experiment and just go, what can I do with this tool? How is it going to work for the story? Which I think is Kubrickian a bit, the love of going, how can I exploit this tool to
my advantage?
And
he's just, again, he's a bit like you said, Kubrick. He fashioned an old lens, I think, for Barry Lyndon.
The NASA
old lens that could pick up those candles,
those
dark scenes. And honestly, like, some of the people we're talking about are elite of the elites. They are. I don't know how they do it. I honestly don't know how they do it. They're incredible. But what I have seen is people are supporting you with the Fincher love.
Oh, okay, cool.
They are loving you here.
The last thing I would make about the Fincher film, The Killer, that I really like that you actually hit on, is that I feel like Fincher wanted to go, let's see just how to the bone we can strip. There is no save the cat moment for Fassbender. You could argue that the fact that his girlfriend was attacked, that's not a real save the cat moment. So he has 0 redeemable attributes, and if you get on board with Fassbender it all throughout that film, that's on you. And that's like Fincher's like thesis that he thinks everyone's a pervert. That primal belief is that people have a darkness and people are not necessarily comfortable with that, but they'll go along with it in movies. And if any of the audience, it's connecting, if there's anything about that character, again, that's all on the viewer. That's your responsibility, because the guy doesn't really, aside from if you side with him in that aspect, he doesn't. You could say also the moment where and I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but there's a decision where a person asks him to do something because she has kids.
Yes.
The only moment that he really on film do we get to actually see him arguably make um, a morally, I guess, in some way justify or supportable decision, and so it's like just like with Taxi Driver, really, it's because you're in that character's head and you're seeing everything from Bickle's standpoint. The same thing with Fassbender's. Yeah, you can go along with a lot of different things, but that's because it's the filmmakers putting you in a first person perspective of a fairly reprehensible character. And I see it didn't, that didn't work so much for you, but
so here's my thing. I did like the film. I did like it. So my favorite film, it's not the best film ever, but my favorite film ever, well, my two favorite films are Wizard of Oz and Fight Club. So I love Fincher. But I guess everything that I see from Fincher since Fight Club has to match up. And I actually think he's surpassed it with a couple of films, but I just love Fight Club so much because I was young and impressionable. And for me, it felt like that was a very much a Sigma male kind of film as well. So I do like The Killer. I do really like it, but then everything that's Fincher needs to be to Fight Club level. And I don't think it got to that level. And that's why I struggle. I didn't struggle with it, but that's why I don't hold it as high as it should be. Or put it this way, if another director directed that film, I'd be like, that's a great film. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, that's an amazing film. But because it's Fincher, I hold him at such a high esteem that unless he goes and makes like the greatest film of all time, I'm always going to be like, it's not as good as that. It's not as good as this. You know what I mean? Like even Social Network. Someone mentioned Social Network in the chat. I don't think it's as good as Social Network, for example. But
Social Network has, and I'm not disagreeing, but like I think that one of the things that I really am drawn to that film about is he really just strips everything about. He takes as many tricks out of the bag as possible. And it's, Social Network has this fantastic script and it has this, compelling story about very prominent characters in society. It's got, the first Trent Reznor Atticus Ross soundtrack, which is arguably, since it's their first soundtrack, they're kind of pulling from 70s and 80s soundtracks where there's more melody, there's more, quote, themes. There's a lot of repeating motifs, which I kind of miss in a lot of filmmaking. So the Social Network, I could understand why anyone would say that's a better film because it just has so much more at its disposal.
It's grand.
Yeah.
Very grand. It's a grand film. And the script is, I don't know, guys, let me know in the chat. Do you like Aaron Sorkin? Because I know he gets a lot of hate because everyone says these characters sound similar, but I'm a huge fan. I mean, he's one of the great writers of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking what should ideally be, and what is in most films, and making it front and center, which is people talking. He manages Sorkin and Fincher in that film to make every scene's got conflict. Every scene's got 3 acts to it. It's like it just to elevate. 90 minutes of people talking to feel that big. That's a huge accomplishment for sure.
Totally agree.
One thing you were talking about, your love for Fight Club.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how do you feel about Revolver?
Ooh, the Guy Ritchie film.
The Guy Ritchie film, yeah. Also another, to not spoil anything for anyone, but there's some obvious kind of inspiration from certain beats of Fight Club. And
okay, I've only seen Revolver once. I saw it when it first came out at the cinema, and I was left thinking, "What the hell have I just watched?" I've not revisited it again. So it's hard for me to say that it's good or bad. I just don't understand what I watched, and all these years on, I don't think, sometimes when you watch a film and you're like, I don't understand what just happened, but I really want to know what happened. Like Mulholland Drive, for example. Yeah. You want to know what's happened. So you go on Reddit or you go wherever and you start Googling what's happened. With that film, I didn't care what it was about because it felt like absolute nonsense. But I'm sure you're going to tell me that it's not.
It's not, but it's totally understandable what, like, especially when you talk about Lynch's work and when you get into like abstraction, when abstraction becomes one of the main vocabulary of the film you're watching, it's very understandable that someone will walk away from movies that kind of veer into that territory as, well, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah.
Because and that's for me, like, I love all types of film. I love movies. I love movies as much in a lot of ways as I love films, but for me, my love is, like films that are a conversation with the viewer, that you are an active participant in the experience. And I understand that is not for everyone, like a lot of people, and this is not a criticism, and I'm not saying this about you, but a lot of people, they just want to sit down and see a story unfold, and I love that too. But my love is when I have to really get involved with what I'm seeing, and then after leaving the theater going, what did I see? Those conversations with other folks or yourself, just toiling away at kind of the deeper levels and layers of what the film is communicating. So I really loved Revolver. I thought
Do you know what it's about?
Oh yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of stated in the film with a number of the characters, but it's a meditation on the self. It's a meditation on, the ego, and it's a meditation on in neuroscience that there's a conversion of the monkey mind, which is like if you get into meditation, study meditation, it has major overlap with the concepts of the monkey mind, which is, science calls it the default mode network, which is, as soon as you're not actively engaged with a thought process or an activity, your brain starts sending you thoughts of, oh, I feel great today. Actually, no, I kind of feel cruddy today. And you know what? I think that person noticed, it's like all those thoughts that start immediately, flooding the mind. So that movie kind of deals with a lot of like, not just stripping away distraction, but also, how much of the self is made up of external and extrinsic influences in the world versus, who you really are, and how much does who you are get perverted or twisted by the extrinsic. But
so with Guy Ritchie, he is a strange one. He's a strange one because he started off with
his first part of his career.
Yeah, exactly. So he started off very Tarantino-esque with Lock, Stock, and Snatch as well. And then he veered off into Revolver and the film that he made with Madonna, and they were both flops. And then he decided, I'm going to have to go back into my gangster stuff. So he made, I forgot what it's called, made another British gangster film as well with Idris Elba and Tom Hardy and so forth, which is a really good film, really exciting film. But it feels like to me with Guy Ritchie that he had this moment, like you said, the things you were talking about there were really intelligent, and he's a very intelligent person. So he's got those thoughts in his head. But it seems to me like, unlike Soderbergh, he's very affected by criticism. And like most directors, I mean, Tarantino had the same issue when he made Jackie Brown, which is, some people think is his best film, but it didn't do very well. So he went back into, Kill Bill and so forth and so forth. So it's so strange how some directors are so affected by criticism.
He like both both Tarantino, or like I would say Carpenter with The Thing. All three of those directors had a moment where they poured their heart and soul into something. And in Guy Ritchie's, there's two films, one that are both deeply personal for different reasons.
Yeah,
that I would say arguably the one with Madonna would just work on it for me, and I haven't seen it in a long time, but it seems to not work on a mechanical level. Like it just didn't.
Yeah.
But all three of those directors, they poured everything into these pictures that just got, like The Thing now is considered one of cinema's best, not just for horror, but at the time it got destroyed at the box office. Critics hated it. Carpenter says that fans didn't like it, but because I was, I was born in 79, and I remember seeing that movie on VHS when it first came out. Everyone I knew liked it, but everyone I knew were kids. So I don't know what, I guess, and my parents both loved it, but they're filmies,
Yeah.
But yeah, like The Thing just bombed and it destroyed. Carpenter almost kind of does have a similar path where he did Memoirs of the Invisible Man. He did he did the one with Jeff Bridges, or was it Bo?
Bo, I think. Bo Bridges?
Yeah, I can't remember which one it is, but he plays the alien that comes to Earth and falls in love.
Oh, that's Jeff Bridges.
Yes. He did that, and he had made another attempt. Oh, and he did Big Trouble in Little Chinatown. And all those movies he was trying to do, he thought Big Trouble was that was going to connect with mainstream audiences. And I think if it would come out in a different decade, it would have. But all of those movies did not hit. So he went kind of like you're talking about him going back to gangster movies. Carpenter went back to horror and does a couple good ones, but mostly trash after that. And I'm like a John Carpenter devotee, but like most of the end of his career is just not good.
Not good. I think it's one of the reasons why Tarantino is deciding to pack it in, because he's seen people like De Palma and Carpenter and so forth. All his favorite directors from those eras just completely like. Okay, so Francis Ford Coppola's newest film's coming out, and I think it's come out at Cannes. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. And it's getting absolutely panned. And what did people expect? The guy's not made a good film in 44 years. And, Tarantino, I guess, I don't want him to quit, but I guess he's right. Like, you get to a certain age, or he's not right, because Scorsese's still making
that's the ultimate
films, I guess.
Hitchcock did great work all the way towards the end.
Yeah.
Not
even Spielberg.
But and Spielberg too.
Yeah.
I want to ask, because I think you're more of a De Palma guy than I am. What does he do anything after Carlito's Way that's worth? I think Carlito's Way is super undervalued, but does he do anything after that that's worth?
Yeah, he did, and I think you're gonna have to correct me on this one, everyone in the chat. I think he did Mission Impossible after Carlito's Way, or maybe before. I can't remember. I think it's after. Yeah, 1996. Carlito's Way was 1995 or 4 or something, and I love Mission Impossible. But I think after that, he did nothing. I think he just disappeared after that. Well, I don't say disappear. He made more films, but they didn't do very well. And I think he was kind of hoping that Mission Impossible would push him finally, because he always wanted that mainstream success. And I think he was hoping it was going to do that. And it didn't do that. And it's a shame because, it didn't. It's a shame because for me, that's the best directed Mission Impossible film. I love the opening 20 minutes when his team was slowly being, if you've not seen it, guys, I'm sorry, when his team was slowly being killed off, and he finds out that, he's being set up, and then he blows up the restaurant and the water pours out. And there's so many amazing set pieces that Brian De Palma puts together in that film. But yeah, I mean, De Palma was never, he was always seen as a director, because he came up with Scorsese and Coppola and George Lucas. He was always seen as like the outsider in that sense. So he was never like huge. He made huge films every now and again, but he was never like Untouchables is probably his biggest film. But
Scarface
was pretty big. Yeah, Scarface was big. Yeah, Scarface was pretty big. But he was never like considered to be one of the greats. It always, because I think his style is he's basically aping off Hitchcock. Very much so. Like all his shots are Hitchcockian. So, and all these films are like that as well. He didn't develop his own style. So I think they always saw him as like the guy who just copies Hitchcock. And I think that kind of ruined his love. And no one talks about him anymore. You know, no one really talks about De Palma. They talk about Carpenter. They talk about Scorsese still and Spielberg, but no one talks about Brian De Palma. It's a real shame.
Yeah.
So guys, what is your favorite Guy Ritchie film?
By the way, you had a new subscriber pop up.
I did see that. I saw quite a few things actually. I saw Bootle Bad Boy. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate that. Guys, if you don't know who this is, because I don't know why it doesn't say our names here, but I guess I'm a bit of a novice here, but that's fine. This is the man who gifted everyone memberships. Wow. Everyone's now a member. He gave a membership to everyone. Everyone on YouTube got a membership to my channel in the last 2 streams.
I'll be doing more at the end of the stream too. Yeah, towards the end of the stream, for those who stick around, if you're not a member yet, I'll be doing another five.
You hear that, guys? Do you hear that? Stick around because you might get a free car from Vitaphone. He's handing them out like Oprah Winfrey out here. But guys, talk to me. What? First of all, Guy Ritchie. So first of all, I can see someone wants to join the chat as well, so I'm going to bring them in a minute. First of all, Guy Ritchie, best film. Second of all, Brian De Palma, best film. Third of all, guys, if you've not hit the like button, what are you doing? What are you doing? So, should we get this third person in? Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello there, Marcus. This was such a cool idea.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
I'm glad.
Just pretty good.
Well, very good. Oh, maybe a little nervous because I'm generally camera shy.
Oh, don't worry about that. We're all camera shy. Don't worry about that. You've joined the club.
You got a face for camera too, so you're
Thanks,
good.
Man.
In my opinion.
There you go. You're putting us to shame, actually. I might take you off the stream.
Look, I'll go in now. Thanks.
Okay, so Grail. Am I saying it right? Is it Grail?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So what do you think? Are we just a couple of idiots talking crap here, or are we coming up with some good points?
No, I like your points. Personally, I actually haven't seen The Killer yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Marcus, don't kick me off just yet, but I don't have Netflix. So that's why I've held off. It does look interesting. And I love David Fincher's past work, so I'm very up for seeing it. I like your points about the how it's likened a little bit to Taxi Driver, and both of those movies have like a big Les Samurai, the Melville movie connection, which is also
that's a great point. It's a great point. In fact, I'd say The Killer more than Taxi Driver has.
Oh, those are the upfront influences for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great point. So, Grail, what is your favorite Fincher film?
It depends on the day and time of day, to be honest with you.
I feel that.
I'll say right now, Social Network has really been resonating with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those movies where I feel like any artist, whether you're a photographer, my cousin is a composer, and
mm-hmm.
he refuses to see the movie because he's also a software developer. But he listened to the soundtrack and got a feel for the tone for the movie from the soundtrack alone, and loved that. So it's one of those movies that has aged perfectly, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's probably his most accessible film. Like, it's got the young actors, the young hot actors. It's got the accessible script. It's it's about Mark Zuckerberg. It's his most accessible film for sure. And probably his most technically proficient film in the sense that he's putting the camera down and shooting and getting the dialogue because the dialogue's so good. He's not stepping in the way of Aaron Sorkin's work, basically. So it's a very accessible film. I think Seven for me is better, and also Fight Club, obviously.
Mhm.
But Social Network is tremendous, and also he's done stuff like I said before, like The Game, like stuff people don't talk about anymore. So even like his Benjamin Button was probably the first time I was like, dude, what are you doing?
I still haven't seen it. And he is my favorite director, but even my favorite directors, there are films where I haven't watched them yet because I'm like, I'm not ready. I have a couple like Kubrick films that I still haven't watched, even though
Which ones?
I still haven't watched Doctor Strange Love. I still haven't watched. I don't think I've seen Spartacus except for when I was, or not Spartacus. Was that him? Yeah, Spartacus. I also have other weird reasons why I haven't seen films by some of my favorites, because I feel like one day they're gonna die or they already are dead, and it's kind of like that bottle of fine whatever. One day I'm gonna crack that open on a real bad day or a real good day. For me,
Go on.
I was just gonna say, for me, Dark Horse favorite of Fincher's, which is not his best. It's not a judgment that way, but I throw on The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo quite often as my go to sleep movie, because there's something about, and that not in a bad way, but there's something about the world, the music, the performances that I just. And again, I'm not making an argument for it being one of his best, but it's one of those ones that I just like to throw on.
So, are you saying that you don't like it, or you do like it?
Oh, I love it.
You love it.
I'm not making an argument that it's like his top 3 or top 5. It's just, like there are movies that are not like, there's just something about the movie that resonates where you're not, it's one of your favorites, but kind of like when you and I talked about 5-star versus 4-star and yada yada. Some movies that when you get to the point that you actually sit down to rate movies, that you realize that you love them, but they're not actually on a technical. You can't technically give it 5 stars, even though it's like one of your favorite movies.
Yeah,
but
for sure. Like I know Wizard of Oz is not everyone's favorite, but hey, I like it. Grail, what's your favorite film?
I'm sorry. Did you say me?
I did.
Okay, sorry.
What's your favorite film?
Seven Samurai is always up there.
Mm-hmm.
Drive is like, it's almost, you have to claim it as a guilty pleasure nowadays for some reason, but that is it's very dear to my heart, that one.
What is it about Drive that you like? Because I have to be honest with you, on the first viewing, I didn't like it. And then when I rewatched it, I was like, this is actually a genius film. And if you look at the director's work before that, it's so different to any of his work before that. If you've seen the Pusher series, it's very handheld and raw. And that was the first time that he kind of used almost a code to shoot a film. And it's very similar to Le Samurai, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very formal, very... the mise-en-scène and just the way he stages every shot is almost Kubrickian in a way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely that visual aspect of it, but I also I feel the way that people talk about Chris Nolan's movies as being really immersive.
Mm-hmm.
This movie did that for me a little more immediate, where it wasn't like I was expecting it. It kind of took me by surprise.
Okay.
And a lot of people, which I see where they're coming from, I suppose they don't like the writing of it. They think its writing is a little clunky. I actually found the writing to be very tight and almost in its tightness feel like a video game, or like you were in a video game.
Are you talking about Drive still?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
but a movie,
Ooh,
in a way.
That's like a cutscene. Watching a bunch of cutscenes together. Nice. Yeah. That's actually a really good comparison, because the dialogue is very clunky, but I think that's definitely on purpose. And I think the performances are on purpose very clunky as well. Especially there's loads of silences between Gosling and Carey Mulligan, which are just incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's probably the best thing about the film, if I'm being honest with you. We've got another guest to bring on. First of all, guys, if you just joined the chat, we've got Vitaphone, Grail. We've had Bad Boy Bootle, who has wonderfully joined as a member. We've had Spiritual, who's gifted a super chat. Thank you very much for that. So we're about to have on another bastion of the channel for the first time. And first of all, guys, where are you from? The guys are on now, Grail and Vitaphone. Where are you guys from?
I'm from Wisconsin.
Nice.
America.
I'm from Portland. I was going to mess with you when I came on the chat. I was going to do a British accent. I can do several of them.
Please do that next time. That'd be amazing. We've got a guy. I don't know where he's from. I've heard him speak. He sounds very New Yorkian. So, Jay, where are you from? Hello.
Hello. What's going on, Vita, Grail, Marcus? Good to be here, guys. Appreciate you. No, I'm in Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma.
No.
I just didn't capture the Okie accent. They have a different accent. I don't typically say I was fixing to go get the wash out. I don't speak like that, but I've been here my entire life, so a lot of people ask me where are you from, and I say I'm here in Oklahoma, and I'm from Oklahoma. They just typically don't expect that.
I did not expect that myself. Is that there's no famous film or musical called Oklahoma?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I know about Oklahoma. That there's a musical. I've never seen it, but that's all I know about it. Where is it? Is it Midwest?
We're close. Where I'm on the border of Wichita Falls, Texas. So I'm near the. So we're in our area. It's different areas view us as different things. So we're viewed as Southern in some parts, and others view us as Midwestern. So it depends.
You know what? The problem with America is it's just too damn big. Honestly, it's too damn big. They should break it up a little bit. They should like West America, South America, and then there is a South America already, but they just break it up. Just break you guys up. It's too big.
They do that in Civil War.
The film that I refuse to see because I'm not a huge fan of the director. Jay, what's your favorite film ever?
Ever.
Ever.
Between like Wild Strawberries, the Ingmar Bergman. I don't know. I'm right up there with that. And 2001. I know it's hard for me to say because I go back and forth. And sometimes I start to binge a movie that I really like, and then I overdo it, like with De Palma's Scarface. I think I watched that like 100 times, and I think I'm over it. There's so many versions of it too. Like they made different cuts. So right, they made the TV cut, and they made the theatrical, and they made like the edit for HBO and this and that. So I've seen like the versions where it focuses on the love story more, or it adds in all those deleted scenes, because it's almost like an hour of deleted scenes for Scarface.
An hour?
Yeah, almost. My favorite movie, it's kind of just flips back and forth. It's gonna, 12 Angry Men one day, and then then like I said, maybe Nostalgia by have you seen that? You haven't seen any of I can't pronounce his name correctly, but Andrei Tarkovsky's movies. You haven't seen?
I've not. So a bit like Vitaphone, he's like the wine in the cellar that I've not touched on purpose.
Right. waiting for that right moment.
Yeah, hopefully I don't die soon, because that would have been stupid.
The bucket list.
Literal bucket list.
Solaris.
Not watching any of these films.
What was Solaris and what would the other one be? Stalker. Those would be two really good ones to start off with, and then move on to Nostalgia and some of the other ones, because they get a little bit deeper. It's very esoteric in a way, or philosophical, a lot of the stuff. So it's kind of like the Russian version of a Bergman. But it's a lot of fun. And then I'm a huge Star Wars guy. Huge Star Wars. Like so I go with the original trilogy, and they have these awesome fan edits that are available online. Going through Reddit and looking at Adawan edition of Star Wars, where he's like pieced it together and like fixed some of the continuity problems or different things, and then put that out. I really enjoy those.
So Star Wars, let's stay there. Grail, Vitaphone, Star Wars fans?
Original trilogy, 100%, yeah.
Okay. So what are we thinking about what's happened? Are we saying, so what I said before was, for me, Indiana Jones 1, 2, 3, done. Alien 1, 2, done. And various other franchises, 1, 2, done. Terminator. Are we saying that the original three are 1, 2, 3, done? Or are we going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Sorry, it's really weird because they put the second 3 off. Yeah. So are we saying the first 6, or are we saying the literal first 3, which is Empire Strikes Back, blah, blah, blah? What we doing?
Yeah, for me, it's 4, 5, and 6 for sure. I still watch the other stuff, but I don't think I'm going to be watching the Acolyte. I think I canceled Disney after I was watching Ahsoka was so Ahsoka was for me, that was my okay, you guys got one last chance, and I'm not going to be playing a fool anymore. But yeah,
I love it in the Acolyte commercial, or the trailers where she's moving the knife and it's making all these noises. So you know it's going to be good. It's kind of like that scene in Last Action Hero where he picks up the axe and it's just like shing, twos, like it's rubbing against other metal objects. So you know it's going to be incredible cinema. I can't wait to see the Acolyte.
You think so? Yeah,
it's going to be the greatest Star Wars experience of our time. So we better not miss it.
Yeah.
They got Carrie-Anne Moss out of retirement.
She is going to Matrix all over the Star Wars saga. It's definitely
going off of that. Then Matrix Resurrections. Are we not including that in the first? Is that? Yeah, we're not including that, are we?
Let's not even bother.
Yeah, let's not do that. That's gone.
It's a great theory that was a train wreck on purpose because. As you know, as you might have known, the Wachowskis didn't want to do it, and Lily reluctantly agreed. Because Warner Brothers said, "Well, we're going to move ahead without you." So I believe she only agreed, and there's a theory that she goes, "Okay, well, I'll just train wreck it, so no one else will take it up afterwards."
It didn't work. Yeah. It's coming back.
It's an alternate universe Matrix, possibly. You'll load like a multiverse Matrix. Maybe that's the idea.
What, for the next film?
No, the horrible one that just came out. The
horrible one that just came out. You're still talking about that?
It takes place in an alternate dimension.
Yeah, it's a dimension called shit.
Here's the only thing
it took place in.
The only thing I'll say about that Matrix movie was, the writing aside and everything else aside, to me, the dead giveaway why I want to believe this theory that it was train wrecked on purpose is. Everybody knows the Matrix for its fighting, like whether you're into philosophy, the philosophical aspects of the Matrix, it's known for revolutionizing, at least bringing a lot of anime and all these other elements into its fighting. And Lily intentionally said, "Oh, well, we don't want to do that in this one because we've already done that." To me, that's the thing that makes me want to believe this theory that it's true, that it was a train wreck on purpose.
It's so bad. It's so bad. I mean, I forgot the name of the guy who plays Morpheus, but oh my god, that was.
He's the same one. He's the same one from the Aquaman, I think.
It is. I forgot his name, but
Morgan Freeman.
Oh god, that's the one. That's the one. That's the name. So what are you guys thinking about the Deadpool situation? Are we saying this is the return to form? MCU coming back? Do we care? Do any of us care?
I care.
You care?
I think it's a dead cat bounce, though. For not just Marvel, but I think I think that and a couple of other films that will perform well are just dead cat bounces for the theater, for cinema, which. I don't know if you haven't heard that term. That's a term typically used in the stock market when a stock is dead, but it has a sudden spike at the end because the sale price falls so low that people buy in. So you get this meteoric rise after a stock is already dead, and then it just goes back. And the term is, if you drop the cat off of a building when it hits the ground, it's going to bounce. That doesn't mean it's alive. But
wow. I thought I was cinema is dying, but you are cinema is dead.
Oh, and that I've talked to you before, but I've almost done writing something that is a pretty thorough
analysis
about numbers that no one talks about, and I could say it in this to blow that video, but there is a number that nobody's paid attention to for a good number of years that is pretty showed the writing on the walls a long time ago for cinema that is basically coming to bear at this point.
Ooh.
But it is
a tease.
Inclusive cinema is at least the business side of it is dead. It's long
so
dead.
You've got some information that is going to prove cinema is done.
Oh yeah, conclusively. Yeah.
Because a lot of people, whenever I put it on my community page, people are like, "Oh no, it's alive." It's just that everyone has exams and stuff, and there's things going on, there's streaming and blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, there's something going on here. There's something going on. You can feel it. There's something happening, and those numbers are bad. They're really bad.
It's a number that even the most thorough examination, which was what's the guy? He's balding, glasses kind of like mine, has a big
Dan Morrill?
No, he's more in the essay, smarmy essay. He's I think he's actually probably the biggest guy at this point.
On YouTube.
Yeah. I forget what his name is.
Anyone?
Is he the one that interviewed Tommy Wiseau and then it got taken off by some chance? Is that him? He's got like an energetic personality in all of his videos.
Yeah, he tends to do like kind of little cinematic things in his video over the last couple of years.
Okay. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I forget what his name is.
Yeah. He does wild reviews, right? He made loads of I forgot his name.
Reviews and essays, and the only reason I don't know is he started to put out as he got bigger and bigger. He started putting out takes that I really didn't. That like even I was like, okay, I like to subscribe to people that I don't agree with all the time on pretty much any topic. But it got to the point where I was like, oh man, this guy's living off his own supply. But he did like a 2.5 hour like takedown on what's the rot and the different elements that are killing cinema. But even he
is that Patrick Williams you're talking about?
There you go.
Yes. That's very true. Patrick Williams is very good. I love that guy. The speculationer says John Campea said something interesting yesterday in open mic stream, and he said that the theater and company would cause theater to die due to the Fall Guy situation. The speculationer, what do you mean by that? Because I don't know what that means, but give me some more information because that seems pretty interesting stuff.
That being another big bomb, showing that it's donezo. But I mean, so I'm just going to spoil it, even though I'm going to give you that.
Go on. It's exciting. Come on.
Hopefully we'll do a proper video on, but the real metric that nobody has paid attention to, and there are insiders that I know that have talked about it, but they don't want to talk about it because it just spells it out, is there's a lot of creative logic and creative math when we compare box offices across different eras. And ironically, that when you adjust for inflation, that actually it doesn't illustrate what people wanted to illustrate, that the box office is growing. It actually, if you dig in, highlights a much bigger Lovecraftian cosmic horror problem. And I'll give you 2 examples. So I believe it might have been, I can't remember. I think it was Barbie last year. It might have been the Mario Brothers movie, but I know I grabbed Barbie's numbers, and Barbie did, I think, I want to say it was like $1.5 billion. And everybody's going, hey, this is great. This is fantastic. And that sounds good. But when you realize that 700, and this is, you're not going to be able to nail me down on an exact number. So if anyone wants to debate me about it, trust me, I'm going to be off on this. This is napkin math. But so out of that 1.5 billion, 787 of that came from the States. Okay. Now, well, the stateside box office and is the way that the studio system gets is they get upfront. Typically, they're getting somewhere between 60 and 80% of the box office receipts for the first 2 to 3 weeks. And the theater's basically getting nothing. This is why in the 90s, the theaters turned into a candy and soda store. They're not really making money especially now. They weren't really making money. That's why there was a sharp increase. It wasn't inflation. It wasn't greed. They just simply got strong-armed by Lucas, because there's a whole restructuring that happened when they forced theaters to go digital. And that's a whole other topic. But theaters essentially start getting all their money off after week 3 and on, and it starts getting exponentially larger. So even if we say that they got 100% of that 787 million million off of Barbie, and that's all they get, all that. So overseas, totally different issue. It's actually the inverse, where most of the overseas markets, they get all the money off of the first 3 to 4 weeks. So that starts to paint a pretty damaging problem, and why we have this new figure of film actually needs to gross 3 to 5 times its budget. That's not even before you get into the fact that there's, with the bigger movies, they'll typically double the production cost for marketing. Now that starts to get all complicated, and that's a lot of math. And that's what a lot of people will do when they talk about the business end failing. Here's the real number that really actually matters, and the number that's spooky. If you take that $787 million that Barbie got in the States, where it matters most for studios, that means that roughly I think it's the math works out to about 1 in 77 or 78 Americans. 1 in every 77 Americans went to see that theater. Sounds good. Sounds great. The real problem is, if you compare that to a film that isn't even one of the highest grossing films in the 1980s, Ghostbusters, one that I love it, actually the highest grossing films of the decade. But that film, I think it did around 287 or 300 total million. Most of that being the States, because a lot of the other countries didn't have the theater infrastructure we did. But at that point, 1 in every 2.5 Americans went to see that movie in the theater. Now that is cosmic horror. Now that doesn't actually mean that 1 in every 2.5. It means that if you get away with the fact that people are double buying, going to see a theater or a movie more than once, same thing with Barbie. But that gives you an idea of the seismic shift in the general public, their viewing habits. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which was the biggest grossing film in the 80s, that is 1 in every 1.25 Americans went and saw that film. And again, that's creative math, because you're talking about people went to go see it multiple times. But when you when you take the amount of the population, how much tickets costed at that time, and you do the math there, that's how you can figure out on average how many people went and saw a film. And then, like I say, you divide that by the population. But that's the real numbers, that people just aren't going to see movies the way they used to.
So 1 in 77 watched Barbie. 1 in 1, let's just say 1 in 3 for Ghostbusters. That's the shift. Yeah.
And again, if you use Close Encounters, it's like 1 in it. Essentially
1 in 1.
1 in 1 went to see that in its theatrical.
Ooh.
And that's
alarming.
If you chart that out, and that's, we're talking, a lot of people now talk about cinemas dying. That conversation has been going on since around the late 90s, is when it started to get some traction amongst people that actually were looking at the numbers and saying, we might have a problem here. And when you have in the 1980s, the studio systems used to be, most of the board were made up of people coming up in the business, whether it be internal hires or grabbing talent, or people breaking off and starting their own studios. But we see a shift in the 80s to the money men come in, Pepsi and GE and these companies come in, and a lot of people will blame them for wanting to more and more stick with, at the time, basic formulas, which then translated as less. And this is why this happens, is they know that less people are going to see the movies. So they start leaning more and more on IP and established property as a desperation call. It wasn't, I love Marty, and I agree with his arguments about cinema and the difference between cinema and film. But the audience is a co-conspirator in this issue, because they just went to less and less films, more and more only wanting to go to tentpole films. And again, if you do that, if you chart films out every couple of years and you look at that, that was a trend that was happening more and more long before we got to only books and comics and sequels and reboots and remakes. That was a trend. So that was a response to the trend. And it probably made things a lot worse, or at least arguably added to this trajectory of everything is a property. But it's because one in one to 1 in 80 people went and saw the biggest movie of that time.
There's also in the 70s and 80s, there were a lot of films that the studio put out that didn't have the type of windows that we have today, where it's off to the streaming. And so the audiences are going to a lot of audiences, this Fall Guy is already streaming. Like, I went to go see it at the IMAX, and the theater had a lot of people in it, but it wasn't completely totally sold out or anything like that. But the window is so short that a lot of people are saying to themselves, well, I'll just wait to see it on streaming. It's going to be there next week.
100%.
Same thing with our Arcadian. I went to go see that Nicolas Cage movie at the IMAX, and then like 2 weeks later it was on streaming. So the window is just like super, super thin. It's like it's in the theater one day, it's on streaming the next. It's on DVD. Even the places that still do the physical media, it's on DVD, it's on Blu-ray, like within a week later. You see it at the Target or whatever. And so it doesn't have that same window. Also, another strange point, and this is a small one, is a lot of the films, even though that was a great period for us nostalgia-wise in the 80s, many of those films, even from the 60s and stuff like that, continue to be remakes or reboots of stuff that came out in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. We have like Brewster's Millions is a favorite of mine, but it was a remake. And, one of the great films of all time, My Fair Lady, was a remake too, Papillon. So a lot of the stuff that was things that I had already watched before were being remade in the 80s. And so I wonder how they're going to do this version, or they were knockoffs a lot of times. So a lot of the stuff that we view as being completely, totally original usually comes from other source material anyhow.
Yeah,
even like Scarface, your favorite film.
Right, Scarface was
yeah.
James Cagney.
Yeah, 1931. Yeah, crazy.
The difference in the 70s and 80s is that was a minority of productions being made, and there was some pushback by the general audiences, but they generally liked, because the remakes that did come out, like Scarface or things like that, did it well. And there's a precedent in theater, right? I mean, some of the best productions are hundreds of years old, so, there's a precedent of being able to take something old and make it new again. But it wasn't the rule, because
You're right, Vita. And that's why I'm super excited for the Mickey Mouse horror film coming out. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be it's gonna save cinema.
The other thing too, though, is that home theaters are becoming so much more inexpensive for people.
Yes.
Like 4K accessibility. There was a certain level of quality that you could only get at a theater when I was a little kid, and then DVDs, Blu-ray, it all started to take over.
And if you go to the theater, you're probably going to have some idiot next to you who's either eating their food too loud, or on their phone, or not watching the film, or making noise, or a variety of other things. And it's a potluck. It's a lottery what you're going to get when you go into the theater, which is why I try and go into an empty theater.
That's a part of the ambiance. We're supposed to embrace the ambiance.
Okay. I'm done embracing the ambiance. I'll watch it at home on my home theater.
But this is only 65 inches. How am I going to see what's going on 65 inches? I need 200.
200. Oh,
read a phone.
He's got it on TV. Awesome.
Is that your house?
Yeah. And that's my projector in the background. I'll just give you,
this guy is living in luxury.
Yeah.
Film
cribs over here.
Film is
awesome
my
setup.
church.
Look at this.
Film is my church. It's the thing that
Look at. Oh wait, up there is the VHS. If there's VHS on that top shelf, that upper shelf where the Ninja Turtles are, there's HD DVD. There's CED right through there. There's Ultra 4K Blu-ray, and then more HD DVD.
I don't own any physical
formats,
media.
The none.
None. I have no physical media.
Oh my goodness.
If I watch a film, I'm going to probably watch it for the first time and the last time in most cases. I don't need the physical media to remind me of the pain that I sometimes have to go through.
and you're not really one for rewatches, right, Marcus?
No, I don't rewatch. I mean, if it's a classic film, obviously, I think Jay said he watched Scarface 100 times. I've probably seen it 3 times. That's enough. That's too many.
I saw Frozen. I saw Frozen in the theater 5 to 10 times when it came out, and I was the first person that was watching it. And so I went around as an apostle for the film, and I told other people, "Have you seen Frozen yet? I'd like for you to go see Frozen." No one knew what it was. Remember when it was the trailer came out? It was just Olaf, the little snowman character, and he was running around chasing after a carrot. So when I went to the theater on opening night at the IMAX, it was completely empty, and I was the only one sitting in there enjoying Frozen.
What were you there by yourself watching Frozen?
Yes.
Oh,
I took myself up there to watch Frozen. I wanted to see what it was. I like the Disney movies, and then they said this one was like a bit of a musical, and I said, okay, let me go check it out. But I like to watch a lot of stuff sight unseen. So a lot of sight unseen stuff, like no trailer, no information. I'll just walk in and watch it and be surprised or horrified.
I think I said on the stream before, I admire what you and Gagnan do, because you guys watch just the most obscure films, and I'm a snob. I'm an absolute film snob. If it's not being idolized or praised, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Like, life's too short. I'm not going to sit down and watch 3 hours of anything that's not good. Yeah. I'm not going to sit down and watch 3 hours or 6 hours of The Acolyte, because much like you, Vitafone, after Ahsoka, I'm done.
You guys held out much longer than me. I was done after season 2 of Mandalorian.
Season 2?
Yes.
That wasn't a bad season. You didn't like it?
I didn't like. I mean, okay, the ending, of course, the ending. No spoilers ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Did stir me a little bit, but then after it was over, I realized that was kind of the point. And if you look at enough television, I feel like they're kind of doing that same ending across these shows, and they're not really faring well for it. I mean, Twilight Zone did the same ending after its first season.
That Jordan Peele, wasn't it? He produced that.
Yeah, the Jordan Peele one. Yeah.
The magnificent Jordan Peele, who's highly overrated. Sorry if that's offended anyone.
Right?
No, not offended.
Sorry.
I kind of agree.
What was that, Vitafone?
We're staying positive, right?
You just destroyed the positivity. You just absolutely categorically said that cinema is dead.
That's
like,
the numbers don't lie.
Done.
The business end, you know.
There's no comeback from that. Positivity is gone.
I am still positively looking forward to The Acolyte. Knives should always make sound effects whenever you just aim them at the camera. They should go and I'm still super pumped for Axel Foley and Beverly Hills 4 the
Bad
Mickey
Boys?
Mouse horror film. I'm excited. Bad Boys, I will be there. I am a Michael
You know what, Jay?
Bay,
You are single-handedly
Superfan.
keeping cinema alive.
I'll be the only one in there cheering it on. Let's go.
Let's go. Axel Foley is going to be dreadful.
I can't wait.
Oh my God.
The nostalgia alone when that theme comes on, do. Oh, it will send chills. I'm getting goosebumps.
Getting goosebumps right now.
I can't wait. Let's go.
Are you being 100% genuine right now?
He's not.
Am I going to go see Beverly Hills Cop 4? Yes. And I hope that it's just as good as Beverly Hills Cop 3.
So here's the thing, and Marcus, you could probably attest to this since you're doing it, since your channel is growing and you're having so many interactions.
Mm-hmm.
I had a recent pretty eye-opening experience, and this is why I'm asking if you're being serious, Jay. But after seeing the latest Ghostbusters movie, I'm in a pretty active Ghostbusters subgroup of fans, and like got a lot of people that talk about Ghostbusters pretty often. There's hundreds of posts a day. And when I left the theater, I'm going to stay positive, but I left the theater disappointed in a lot of structural problems. And
was it the ending?
No. So I've written several screenplays. Just a little house cleaning on me. I worked in film. I've worked on a number of films that have made it to streaming. I've worked in television, worked at one point in Portland, Oregon, where I'm at. We had 6 television shows running concurrently. So I did a lot of work on there and post. So I come at things and I'm just an analytical guy, and I'm an artist too, but I know screenplay structure very well. And I understand the concept of, the difference between an ensemble piece and a sole protagonist. I know the structure very well. So like for me, I had issues with, there are too many things happening in that film for me, for any of those stories to necessarily on a mechanical way relate to one another. It's just overstuffed. And I understand that doesn't matter to a lot of people. But for me, when things don't work on a mechanical level to such an extent, I can't get invested and I can't check out of that. It's there's an old saying of once you know how the sausage is made, you just don't eat it anymore, So like for me, there's a lot of critical reasons why somebody might not appreciate that film. But the eye-opening experience for me was in that group that I've been in for 5 or 6 years. The vitriolic level that people will defend a film like that, and not that they like the film, but they will try to debate critical points that it's a simple black or white. It either does or does not work. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy the film, and it doesn't mean that you can't love the film or have a great experience with that film. But what I liken it to is that I love Twinkies, but I will never argue that Twinkies are healthy, that they are nutritional.
Unless they're deep fried.
Yeah. But that was to me, and I'm wondering, Marcus, for you, and again, this is why I asked you, Jay, are you being facetious or are you as excited as you're saying about
I am super excited for Beverly Hills Cop 4, Axel Foley returning to action. I think it's just the nostalgia level for what and the hope that Jerry Bruckheimer is on this project again. I think Michael Bay or somebody. So it should have the craziness of at least some of the series. So I would hope to see some of the fast paced silliness. And I've always been a Eddie Murphy fan. But on Ghostbusters 4, I thought it's more like a passing of the torch and it just didn't know when to hand that torch off in that film. And I agree to your point that I think that was mixing in too much of the new and the old together, that it didn't feel like there was any, I don't know, comprehensible or cohesive area to meld it all together. And I thought that it was kind of mixed in that way. And I could see why a lot of people, the nostalgia factor for a lot of people is why I would guess that they're defending it and defending wanting to see this, you know, current film continue on and to see what happens next time with the characters or the next outing. But they kind of already established it in that previous one a little bit. So the fourth one is kind of more of the jumbled mess than it should have been, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, with well, I'm not seeing Ghostbusters. Again, the first two. That's the first one.
First one.
The first one. Yeah, the first one, not the first two.
And the animated series.
I've not. Well, I think I did see it when I was a kid, but I don't remember it very well. But I'm sure it was good. But yeah, I mean, I've not seen it. I'm not going to say it. I'm never going to say it. I'm never going to watch it. But in regards to the point about people defending stuff they shouldn't, yes, because I compared a scene from Force Majeure, the Swedish film, and the remake with Will Ferrell and Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
Yep.
And you know, objectively, the two scenes are so different. One is good and one is bad, objectively, like filmmaking wise. But people still say, I prefer, well, not many people, quite a few people saying, I prefer the remake. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how can you actually sit there and say, I mean, I get it. If you enjoy, it's like what you said before. It's like, you know, if you love a Twinkie, you love a Twinkie. So you may say, I prefer the Twinkie than having a home cooked meal. But you can't, on the filmmaking level, defend the other film. And it's almost as if we're in this age where everyone has an opinion, but we have so many soapboxes that people feel their opinion is correct. Like I saw Joe Rogan interviewing Terrence Howard, and Terrence Howard was talking about 1 + 1. So one times 1 is not 1. What? He's mathematically, he's like 1 times 1 is not 1. It must be 2. What? And he actually believes it. So people are going, yeah, that's true. It's like, what's happening? We're in this really weird time where everyone thinks they're a politician. Unfortunately, everyone thinks they're a politician.
I blame CinemaSins. I love CinemaSins, but my one thing that I've noticed this, and the Ghostbusters was an eye opener for it, but I've noticed this for some time, is that CinemaSins introduced a lot of valid terminology, like plot holes, to a lot of people that they didn't know, and then I forget what the online Wikipedia thing is called, where they've invented things like the like in media res wasn't really that came from that was a device, but it was the terminology. You know, they've invented tons of things that have actually worked their way into valid criticism, but I blame CinemaSins because I think everybody knows just enough to be dangerous now, and they don't necessarily always know. It's the old, I don't think that word means what you think it means problem.
It's so true. It's so true. There's so many people that know terminology, film terminology, like, you know, the third act. In the third act, this should happen. In the second act, this should happen. And everyone thinks they're a scholar in filmmaking now. And you know what? Maybe they are. Maybe we should consider everyone's opinion, because tonight we're being nice to everyone. We're being nice to Amy Adams, to Zendaya, and to Ghostbusters 4, and even the Ghostbusters film with the woman.
I don't know. You're going a little far there, but you keep bringing up Amy Adams, and I'm just expecting her to be down that hallway where you're at right now, and she's just gonna come popping out. And the moment she does, it's just gonna frighten.
It's game over.
It's just gonna frighten me, and this is gonna be one of the worst jump scares of
all time. Yeah. It's gonna be like that Mickey Mouse film, that Mickey Mouse horror that's coming out soon.
I'm gonna keep pushing that resting miserable face. I'm gonna haunt you on that one for.
Oh my god! Am I alone on this? Has she not got the most miserable face? Grail, talk to me about Amy Adams. Do you like this woman?
Not particularly. I do feel like she's one of those actresses that was getting really good roles for a while. But honestly, she kind of seems like the interchangeable actress with any other actress of her generation, personally.
Wow. I thought I was being harsh. That was.
I'm being purely objective. I liked her in Arrival.
Yeah. Well, do you like the film or do you like her?
I think I like the film.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably right. I like the film, and then
I think anyone could have played that. I think Ana de Armas could have played that role, and you know what I think about her. So
I think you're pushing it there.
A little bit. I think I might be pushing it there. But
I think Jenna Fisher could have played in it.
Fincher.
Jenna Fisher should have played in Arrival.
You're absolutely right. Jenna Fisher could have easily interchanged with Amy Adams in that.
And I wouldn't have noticed.
Interstellar, the ginger girl. Sorry, the redhead girl.
Oh yeah.
The one that
I don't know her name.
Director.
Oh, Jessica Chastain.
Yes, she could have played that role easily.
Yeah, that's true.
Kate Winslet.
I think that for me, I think that she's a great actress, but there's something I'm going to say that's going to be super spicy and controversial.
We're getting the stream shut down. Do it, Vita.
I don't like the critical drinker. I don't like that. Now, hold on. Qualified statement.
You are trying to get me. You're trying to get his channel destroyed.
I'm subbed, and I think that he has some pretty good reviews. But I think that anybody that's part of this anti-woke money-making machine, it's like they have a couple good points, and then they realize they can make money off of it, and then there you go. It just becomes a job. But what I will say is going to sound like something that might come out of that audience is that I noticed in the 90s, starting in the 90s, and this isn't, I'm not saying this is wrong. Everybody should be, actors should, if you're a good actor, that should be the thing that matters the most. But the 90s is kind of the beginning of this Hollywood stars, and a lot of female Hollywood stars.
Mm-hmm.
They just look like people I see on the street every day. And it's kind of begins with the Sarah Michelle Gellers and the Jennifer Love Hewitt. And again, I'm not going to say if someone finds them attractive, cool. That's, if that's what does it for you. But, and I'm not saying it's even right, but there was an era leading into that Hollywood stars were perfect, beautiful people. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but I think that the resting miserable face is the child of the offspring of this thing that changed in the 90s and in mainstream cinema of which we're now at a fever pitch of it's absolutely, it's supposedly what's the chick that's the du jour of the day with the large chest. It's supposedly an anti-woke thing to like her.
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
So that, up until the 90s, that was really, that wouldn't be noteworthy that a starlet is obviously physically well above average in some aspects. And now we're at this point, like I said, where we've started casting people that honestly just look like, I don't want to say they're homely, but they're not remarkably attractive. And again, that's not the most important thing. And I'm not saying that should be the only reason but that to me was a big shift in the biggest movies of the era. So
okay. So in one monologue, you've destroyed the critical drinker, Sydney Sweeney, Amy Adams, and all Hollywood actresses since the 90s.
All of them. Salma Hayek was great. I mean, there was still great, very great, very Hollywood aesthetically, amazing, looking celebrities. But
not everyone can be Dolly Parton or Angela Lansbury.
That's true. That's very true. Not everyone can be Dolly Parton. That's a good point. I'm going to come back on the critical drinker thing. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. And then we're going to move on to Sydney Sweeney.
Old trash.
Vita is in
Total
Portland.
garbage.
So if he's
and Sydney Sweeney is a wonderfully talented actress, and she's stunning.
Absolutely.
And Amy Adams is beautiful, and all Hollywood actresses since the 90s are incredible.
Good job on getting Vitaphone out of the burial that he made for himself.
My God, went off on everyone. That was mad. Absolutely critical drinker. Gonna have me destroyed.
You'll see a little red dot appear on someone's chest here in a minute.
Like, here's the thing
God.
about critical drinker too, and like that whole like ilk of that wing of YouTube. I kind of got burnt out about 3 or 4 years before that because I used to sub to like Bearing and a bunch of people that were talking about of the day issues. And then it kind of, when social justice really started to rocket, those guys drilled in on that and found their niche. And while I don't like a lot of trends in society, I never really have, like there's always been, I'm a guy that's always, if there's one person, if there's one person suffering, then it's all, very, very Woody Allen, like I find a lot problematic about society and the way it structures and things emerge. So it's not that I'm some red-pilled super right guy, but those were the only guys that were actually saying, hey, wait a minute, there's something maybe we could talk about here that doesn't just need to be shut up. You can't, if you don't believe in it, then you're one of them, but when those guys started to drill real deep on that stuff, and it became to me patently obvious that these guys are just finding the most obscure, not even headlines, they're going to social media to pull up, and you can find anything on social media. That's when it kind of started to sour for me. So with the Nerdrotics and the critical drinker and that stuff, it just, to me, I didn't find the value in being sick to my stomach all the time, about everything, every fire that's on the planet that's going on. Like, so it's just when it becomes a very drilled down on this niche and monetized to ad nauseum is when I kind of out.
Yeah, I think with the critical drinker, I think in fairness to him, he does have videos where he does praise certain films that have come out or whatever, or TV shows. I think some of the other ones, you're absolutely right. I think it's just misery all day long with those guys. And it's like, this is woke and that is woke and this is woke. And you're right. They're picking out things that are not even certified stories. And they're saying this is woke and that is woke. This is going to happen. That's woke. And it does get tiresome. And I think hopefully we're coming out of that age, because honestly speaking, it's dead. Like the whole woke thing, we were definitely in a woke era, but I think we're definitely coming out of that. And I think people should probably embrace the fact we're coming out of that. So I don't know what these guys are going to do, because they're all grifters, aren't they? So I don't know what they're going to do when we're no longer woke, what they're going to be doing on their channel.
Make movies.
They should probably maximize what they can make now, I guess. I've seen some of them are on Piers Morgan. So, they've done well for themselves. That's a respectable person like Piers Morgan. But yeah, I think we can sit here all day and destroy cinema, but I think we should probably talk about what films we're looking forward to this year. What film, apart from Jay? I don't want to hear about. I don't want to hear about your film with Eddie Murphy. Thank you very much, but maybe something else. What about the Lanthimos film? Anyone looking forward to that?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm all in on Yargos. I've been a big fan since. Was the Lobster?
Lobster. Yeah.
Is that the
Great
first
film.
one? I mean, I know he had a couple of other films that were foreign language that I haven't seen before. That was the one for me. This one definitely seems almost Coen brother-esque, slightly Lynchian, where it's like it's very this is the real world with a little spice to it, a little bit of oddness. I've only seen one. I saw a teaser, but then I saw like a 15-second clip the other day with
Willem Dafoe and
very funny.
I saw that. That's very funny.
He said,
"Well, yeah, go on."
Megalopolis is I'm looking forward to that one the most, probably, of everything lined up this year. Megalopolis is definitely the one for me.
Okay, tell me why. I need to know why.
Okay. In the script archives, called Script Archives, I think, where they put out a bunch of scripts and things like that from over the years that aren't necessarily copyrighted anymore. And so I peered into that to get an idea of what some of the earlier drafts look like. And just knowing Francis from his prior work, and I'm not even necessarily talking about The Godfather, but if you look at Apocalypse Now and the books that have been written about the making of it, the documentary on how everybody went insane making it, definitely has that perseverance that I think is really just difficult creatively to start and then finish, regardless of what you had in mind when you went into it. And then this is going to be a 40-year long byproduct of that creative that he had in his mind, that creative vision. And sometimes I do think if you mull over a idea for too long, it kind of loses its spice after a while, if you know what I mean. And the teaser, I could see from the teaser trailer, I don't know how many have seen the teaser yet, I could see in the writing of it, from the dialogue, that it might feel a little flat for most people, but I'm still just eager to see where he goes with it.
Wow, love that. And then Jay, go on.
Go on. M. Night Shyamalan. He's got 2 pictures coming out. I can't wait to see those. Angel Studios has a film coming out called Sight. I'm a big fan of small drama films. I'm a big fan of lower tier films that haven't been really seen by many people, and I think I'll be looking forward to watching those. What's the other big one coming out this year? I had a list ready. I was kind of iffy on A Quiet Place Day One. I'm pretty sure I'm going to watch that at the cinema. And there's a couple other things. I think Dandelion. Have you heard anything about that?
What's
Nicole Regal. She's the writer, director. It's going to be by IFC Films. That's coming out. I might have to check which movie. It looked like it was going to be kind of really like intense. Like it's a Neon Saturn Films production. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. So no. a lot of independent stuff, a lot of different smaller studio stuff, and then probably some of the towards the end of the year, there's probably going to be something bigger that comes out that I want to watch, and that's about it. I think I like the different, the different side of the genre. So I'm big on some of the bigger movies, like maybe a Sonic 3 or M. Night movie, and then I also like to watch the period dramas too, when those come out, when those creep up, or the family dramas. Like there was one that just came out called Unsung Hero, and I'm planning to go watch that too. And it's about an Australian family. So a lot of the more intimate stuff. Remember, what was that film that came out that was about the deaf that won the Oscar? That was the best film that came out that year. What was the name
Sound of Metal?
What was
it Sound of Metal?
What was it Sound of Metal? That was really good though.
Yeah, it was really good.
One that won the Oscar for best picture. Coda. So films like that are really stuff that's right up my alley. I really love little pieces like that. So that's the kind of stuff I look for when I go to watch a film. Just off the poster, I just see the poster and off I go, or even the title.
Jay, I wish I had that enthusiasm still. I really do, because that's beautiful. Honestly, I'm not even taking the piss or trolling. That's honestly great.
That's how that's how I came across Coda, and I saw it at the theater on a limited run or a limited release, and I loved it. It was really great.
Brilliant. Gladiator 2, Brutal Bad Boy. Gladiator 2. What are we thinking about that? Denzel. Why not, eh? 70 years old. Bring him out of his retirement home and put him in an action movie. What are we thinking? We liking that?
I love Ridley Scott. Period. even his flops are watchable on some level. Except, I'm sorry, this might be what's considered a hot take, but G.I. Jane.
No,
at the end of it, I couldn't. He kept doing this thing with the lens where he'd crank it forward and back to synchronize with the rifles. I was out by that. I couldn't take it.
Well, you like Napoleon as well, yeah?
I actually haven't seen Napoleon yet.
Oh, okay.
Because I heard the theatrical version was the
different,
really cut down.
Yeah. Gladiator 2, Ridley Scott. I've given up on Ridley Scott, so I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Oh no,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't be having that. I mean, come on, Gladiator 2. What?
To the club.
You can add it to the bin of sequels no one asked for.
There's Gladiator 1. That's it. Done. We're out. Right. We've done 2 hours and 15 minutes. I don't know about you guys, but this has been pretty epic. You guys are the first ever people to have come on a stream, and it's pretty easy to do. I thought it's harder than that, but it's pretty easy. And I really appreciate everything that you guys have done for the channel thus far. Honestly, thank you again for the membership, Bootle Bad Boy, and also for the super chat from Spiritual, who I don't think turned up tonight. And I don't know, I'm probably back at the weekend, but we'll see. Anyone got any last comments before we leave? Apart from you, Vitaphone, who's just absolutely eviscerated cinema forever. We're done. Cinema's done.
Sorry, I tried your stream. I think I did like train wreck the stream. Sorry.
No, you didn't train wreck the stream. You just eviscerated my love for cinema, and you maybe have every single Critical Drinker fan about to comment on this video and destroy me as well. But apart from that, yay.
Yeah, I mean, I do have some movies that I'm looking forward to.
Okay, go on then.
And they're mostly just movies, you know. Like I'm interested to see the new Alien Romulus film. Because I think the director, you know, is earned some credit and some trust.
Freddie something. Fede Alvarez.
Yeah, Alvarez.
Yeah.
I've not seen his Evil Dead reboot movie, but from horror fans, I know that it's was very well received. I'm interested in Beetlejuice too, because I want to see if they're gonna, you know, I want to give Tim Burton a chance with Michael Keaton to maybe make one more real good one. I don't know that it's, you know, going to be a classic. I want to see that Maxine movie, MAX. That's the weirdo, like, so she's a porn, like, trying to be a porn actress. It looks interesting and bizarre, in a kind of a pulpy, you know, Corman Presents vibe, you know. I think. Oh, and of course, you know, Deadpool, Wolverine. I'm very actually excited about it. I do want to see the new Beverly Hills. So most of what's left, aside from the Yorgos movie, I think are movies, and I'm excited for them.
Nice. I think Deadpool will be good. I think it's going to be fun. And then aside from that, I can't think of anything else really. I mean, Beetlejuice, sure, why not? And then of course Beverly Hills Cop 4. Can't wait.
Yeah,
Eddie Murphy. That's gonna be fun.
And
do you guys remember when he actually got arrested for putting a prostitute in his car?
Not just a prostitute.
I know. I was.
Thanks, Vita.
Yeah,
Marcus, it's been
someone ends the stream.
Right. It's been a good run, Marcus, and
I was trying to be ambiguous, and
next time we'll be talking about Epstein, and we'll be covering the Weinstein films and what went wrong there. And
yeah, speaking of that, Stephen Hawkins, how the hell did he get to that island? How did he get to the island? I don't understand. Like that's weird. That's so weird.
I'm pretty sure that was debunked, but you know.
Oh, was it? Okay. Sorry, Stephen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I prefer to pretend it wasn't debunked though.
It's way more fun. Oh, in fact, they should do a sequel to that Eddie Raymond film. Or maybe not. Guys, this has been epic. Thank you so much for coming on the stream. Thank you everyone who's been in the chat. If you've not hit the like button, please do. And yeah, you guys are absolutely awesome. You guys in the chat and you guys obviously who I've been speaking to for the past 2 hours. Thank you so much. And I think that's it. I think we're all going to go off and get ready for my channel being shut down because Vitaphone has controversially destroyed everyone, especially 90s Hollywood actors onwards, who are all ugly.
Definitely cancel yourself on that one. I'm not sure.
All right, guys. Big love.
This is good. Take care.
And speak to you soon, yeah?
Yep.
Take it easy.
You have fun, Jay. Take care.